know you don't like plastic surgery, but I got to tell you about this new thing that they're doing in LA. It's called vaginal rejuvenation. Have you heard about this? I know, look at the look of you like, what? Right. No, listen what this is. It's plastic surgery for your vagina to make it look younger. Now, we have all seen bad facelifts, right? What's a bad facelift? If you get a bad doctor for down there, what's it gonna look like? That's not pretty, is what I'm saying. It's just not.
Because women, we are 52% of the population, right? But we only make 85 cents on the dollar. That's why I don't feel bad about shoplifting. Now, black women, we only make 65 cents on the dollar. Right. So that means if I told a joke that you didn't like, that's because I only wrote 65% of it. By round of applause, how many of you here would agree that time is money? Applaud if you believe time is money. Okay. So then I have a proposal. If they're not going to pay me all my money on the dollar, then I have to take back my time, right? So that 12-hour shift is now 8. 9 to 5 is 9 to 2, and my weekend starts on Wednesday. All those in favor say aye. The ayes have it, the motion carries, and the senator from Wakanda reclaims her time. Thank you. Good night.
So that was Carole Montgomery and Leighann Lord, and I am Shelly Colman, and this is the Funny Women of a Certain Age podcast, which is the partner to the Funny Women of a Certain Age tour, which goes along with the Funny Women of a Certain Age Showtime specials and the Funny Women of a Certain Age t-shirts. And I suspect the Funny Women of a Certain Age lunar lander at some point. I'm not 100% sure about that. But I'm going to ask Carole. Hey, Carole, how are you?
I'm good. How are you, Shelly?
I'm doing all right. I got a Starbucks thing here that's giving me brain freeze like crazy.
Yeah.
How are you, Leighann?
I am great. How are you?
I'm doing okay, except for the brain freeze.
The brain freeze.
Yeah, let's get right to the whole Funny Women of a Certain Age deal. Carole, I know you've said this a million times, so you can take a little nap while you tell me, I guess. What and why did you start Funny Women of a Certain Age?
Well, I could actually have Leighann do it for me, but I will.
Okay.
Well,
you can do it in harmony.
I'm
it's fine with
always ready
me.
to jump in and say, it was a dark and stormy night.
Thank you. That's how we'll start it.
Whatever works.
What basically what happened was it was the summer of 2017. And I was doing a podcast very similar to this and everyone always goes, what was the podcast? I said, for the life of me, I could not tell you. I don't remember what it was, but it was with a bunch of other women. And we just started talking and we had such a good time. I mean, we had a really fun time. We were laughing and just telling stories. And when I was walking back to the subway, because it was somewhere out in, I think, Queens or Long Island. When I was walking back to the subway, I called my husband and I said, you know what? There should be a show with older female comics. And my husband, who never thinks anything I do as far as ideas, because, you throw enough shit on the wall, you're hoping something. He actually went, this is a really good idea. And I was like, okay. And then it snowballed. It basically snowballed from... Yeah. There was a young lady named Corey Spencer. She's a comic, but she doesn't live in the city anymore. I think she's in New Orleans now, but she was doing a festival called the Cinder Block Festival.
Oh, yeah. I was part of that.
Okay. And she was getting a lot of grief from comics because it was very female friendly and, gender, very, very pro.
Inclusive and, yeah.
Very pro LGBTQ and she was getting a lot of...
That's just so offensive, right?
Well,
Yeah, absolutely.
certain people it is, and so I'm always the one that takes wounded birds under my care. And I was so angry that these guys, and it was men. I know it's shocking, and they were white. I know that's shocking, and they were mediocre. Not surprising.
Wait a minute, breaking new ground here, Carole. Breaking new ground. No one has ever heard these words before.
Yeah, and so I just took her under my wing, and I said, "You tell everybody that I'm part of this." You know, I had just said I'll be part of the festival, like looking over it, and just to look out for her, so they knew that I was in the wings if anybody really wanted to go after her. And she knew about the show. I told her I had just come up with the idea, and she said, "Why don't you do it at the festival?" So we premiered it at the festival. And then there was somebody who was working at the festival who said, I work at the Crane Theater. I think my boss would love this. And that's how it all happened. And Leighann was on one of the very early shows. She was actually on the show that got us the Showtime deal. So,
oh, wow.
Yes. And then it just
because I'm an influencer, baby.
That's right. That's right. Influenced the hell out of me.
Yeah, and so that's basically how it happened, and it just snowballed, and
wow.
And the great thing about this is that there's never going to be a shortage of acts because everyone does get old.
That's true. What's they say, if they're lucky?
If they're lucky.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not 100% sure about that part, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because nobody knows what it's like once you're dead. Maybe it's better.
Yeah. Well, you know what? For me, I'd be able to sleep. That would be it for me. Just sleeping would make me happy, right?
I'm thinking no more aches and pains, but terrible Wi-Fi.
See, but again, you don't know.
You
just don't know.
Maybe everybody in Beyond gets free Wi-Fi. That
And if we're gonna believe that there's a heaven and a hell, and we're all going to hell, obviously, then we know they're gonna have good Wi-Fi because they have to get porn. They have to get porn, right?
Wait a minute, doesn't porn come from hell? I thought that's how that worked. No? I don't know. I don't know.
This didn't take long at all. What was that, 5 minutes to get to the dark side?
Hey.
Absolutely. But you know what? Why not? So, all right, now, Leighann, I want you to talk a little bit. You know Carole from before you started doing Funny Women of a Certain Age. Is that correct?
I know Carole from the before times. She had actually left. You were kind of not here when I was, coming up in comedy, but I had heard your name, and I'd heard great things, and everybody said, "Oh my gosh, yeah, you got to meet Carole. She's great." Honey, I think we met. I want to say, was it 2004? When were we at the Boston Comedy Festival?
Comedy Festival.
We were of course on the women's show at the Boston Comedy Festival. You were hosting. And we met and just instantly hit it off.
Yep.
And I was like so upset. Wait, you're going back to Las Vegas? But I like you.
I said, little did I know that I was going to end up being back there sooner. Yeah, I was back within 2 years because I moved back in 2006.
Yeah, and then we did our first military tour somewhere in the mid 2000s. Because I went back. I started doing military tours in 2002. But you and I think, were a few years later, and we've done several tours together. That's that really sort of, I think, cemented our friendship. We were already friends, but it just, when you can travel well with somebody and you know what they order at a restaurant.
we travel really, really well. I think people sometimes, because I'll order for her sometimes, and people are like, "Are you guys married?" I'm like,
"That's adorable."
Yeah, we're not a couple.
We're not a couple. We just have been traveling.
But we are to make the crossover from colleagues to friends is really wonderful, and then to see how that proliferates through the whole Funny Women of a Certain Age, dare I say, empire?
Yes, empire.
That means we're going to have to start calling her the Empress, and I'm just not willing to do that.
Yeah. Mogul. Carole Montgomery, the mogul.
I'm a mogul.
How about your grace or your eminence? Is that fine? Is that okay?
It strays a little close to your majesty, which is what I prefer.
Yes.
As my honorific.
Fine, Leighann, your majesty, I'm happy to call you that. And Carole, you get your grace, your eminence, whichever you prefer.
Okay, I like it. I like it.
Wait, you got to pick one though. You can't have both.
I'll go with Grace. I'll go with your Grace.
Your Grace.
All right, you're great.
Because I have.
Oh, I'm feeling very Bridgerton right now. This is fantastic.
Well, that ends now.
I want to say one of the highlights, and this is not unique to this show. I mean, I think it happens, as for us as comics. But the part that I particularly love about Funny Women of a Certain Age is we'll be in the green room or whatever, passing for a green room, and we're having such a good time. It's like, hey, there's a show.
Somebody comes and knocks on the door of the mop closet. All right, ladies,
Right.
let's go.
And you're on in 5. On what? Oh, right.
But that's one of the reasons I created the show. It was for that. It was for the joy of, because we all like, I guess we all like being on stage, but the joy for me is really being with my friends and being silly with my friends, and when you're on the road a lot and you're traveling, and you can get on each other's nerves, but Leighann there's nobody I'd rather be on the road with than Leighann, because you know why? She brings toilet seat covers.
Why? Now, does she bring them for everyone or just for herself?
No, only for the military tours. I would think, here in the United States, we're not that far gone. Jump cut to.
The last time I was in Los Angeles, I remember telling my friend that I was visiting, okay, I've just figured out the best thing about LA. And that is that every bathroom I went to, they had toilet seat covers.
Wow.
And I figured maybe they know something, maybe there's something they're not saying.
You mean there's not shit on the toilets? Or
there may be.
Okay.
I don't know, but they did have covers, and I thought, I like that. It's something. It's something.
Yeah,
put that in the commercials. LA, I love it. We have toilet seat covers.
The ad just writes itself.
It does. And imagine the visual that goes with that. No, don't. Okay. All right. So now I want to ask you things, because in order to do an interview, apparently you are supposed to know about your subject before you talk to them, which I think is ridiculous.
Good.
Because why ask questions if you know the answers?
Mm-hmm.
But I have to ask you, Leighann, do you still remember the Girl Scout pledge?
Wow.
On my honor, I will try to serve God, my country, and mankind, and to live by the Girl Scout law.
Now, see, the good thing about that answer is I have no idea if you're right. I don't know.
Oh, I'm sorry. Then it's, let me see, something different. 4 years ago.
Wow. Wow.
Space, the final frontier.
That's not it. That's not it. You can't fool me. I know that one. I know that one. I saw that you were a Girl Scout. How long were you a Girl Scout?
I don't want to say not that long, but it was long enough. I got up to, I think, first year cadet, because they didn't have pixies when I started. We had brownies, then juniors, then cadets, and I think seniors. So I still have my tiny little brownie uniform. My mother saved it, and I still don't have the heart to throw it away. So I have that. I have my sash, my Girl Scout sash. Mm-hmm. I have my mother's Girl Scout sash.
Oh my!
She was a Girl Scout, and I have my best cookie seller pins that my dad would wear because he was the cookie salesman.
Oh, he was. Okay, I was about to be impressed that you were the best cookie seller.
No child then was selling their own cookies. It was parents schlepping it to work, and my dad intimidating his employees. You're gonna buy these cookies, right?
Well, I did not know that Leighann was a Girl Scout, so of course she would bring toilet seat covers to the Middle East.
You're seeing the through line of my life, right?
Be prepared.
Yes.
Be prepared.
Wow.
I have toilet seat covers in my own house. Don't ask questions.
I wasn't gonna. I was a brownie for about 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And I stopped. I don't remember why, but I suspect it was because I didn't want to sit cross-legged on the floor.
I'll tell you what my out was. Of course, the troop was in the basement of a church. Because, that's how we roll back then. They took us out to the church parking lot, and they were teaching us how to make and cook on buddy burners, which is just an overturned coffee can. So how you put a little fire under that, how you cook. And I'm like, well, this is interesting. Why are we doing this? And they said, because we're going camping. And I said, no, we're not. I'm not.
There it is. There's the Leighann I know. There it is.
No, I'm not. I'm not going camping. And they said, no, we're all of us. I said, no, I need you to call my mother. My mother knows me. She's not going to let me do this. Just have her come and pick me up. Y'all go and have a good time. I'm not eating food cooked outside. I'm not going to be outside. Matter of fact, I've been outside too long in this parking lot. Please call my mother.
Little did you know, though, that you would be doing a military tour later in life, and you might need that skill.
And we stayed in tents. Remember when we were in Haiti? Oh my God! And there were we stayed in tents. And the thing about that, we were with the Miami Dolphin cheerleaders. And
what? Wait, what?
Yes, they were doing.
Okay. Just some context. We went to perform for the folks that were doing relief work in Haiti after the earthquake.
Right.
And so that's why we were there. It was me and Carole. The show was called Punchlines and Pom Poms, and it was Carole and I. Of course it was. Carole and I were the comedians, and they brought in, I want to say, 3 or 4 of the Miami Dolphins cheerleaders. And I got to tell you, punchlines do not follow pom-poms.
They did not want to see us at all. But the thing
team!
Those women, it was 9,000 degrees, a 200% humidity, and they looked perfect. I looked like I had just walked out of a steam room. My hair was frizzy. I was sweating. And you know what? This is what I said, how do you do that? And they said, product.
Mm-hmm.
Remember that? They went product. And I was like,
I do.
What is product?
Oh my!
I
skipped a couple of girl classes there.
I just
Carole. And to be fair, you and I had done several tours. So we show up. We know the deal. We're in boots and sneakers and cargo pants and t-shirts. These chicks show up in suits and heels, walking on a base that is not covered. It's not paved or anything. And I this is not a proud moment for me, but I wanted to hate them. I wanted to hate because the hair is perfect, the heels, the matching suits. But we all stayed together. We were in the same tent, and of course, over the several days, we got to know them. These women were badass. Either going for their masters, or somebody was already in school. Somebody they had a business plan of things they wanted to do to work in hotel management. It was like, okay, These are not airheads. These are powerful women, on the come up who are working towards something. And this is just cheerleading was just a part of their journey. It was amazing to get to know them. Still jealous because they were about the size of my pinky.
See, I hated them throughout the thing.
You did not.
You know what? I was going to sit here and hate them, just not even knowing anything about it. But now I guess I can't because that would make me a bad person.
Well, now, see, isn't that an interesting statement? I wanted to know them until I learned more about them. I wish the entire planet could do that.
Right.
Wow. Okay, so we should end on that, but we're not going to.
We're not.
For more helpful tips about saving the world.
Exactly. But instead, I'm going to ask Carole something.
Oh, God. I wasn't a Girl Scout.
What?
I was a brownie for a moment.
But no, that's not what I wanted to ask you.
Okay.
I wanted to ask you, why did you think you'd be a good spy? Because somebody asked you in an interview, if you weren't a comic, what do you think you would do? And you said, I thought I'd be a good spy, unless they misquoted you. Why a spy?
No, I want to hear the answer to this.
No, but actually the reason, and that's only because I'm older now. Because the thing about being older is, what's the one thing women say about being older? We're invisible. So I could slip in and out. I could be stealing, important country secrets. Nobody's going to know. They're going to be like, who's that? Who's where? And I could be just in and out. That's why I want to be a spy.
Oh,
I mean, nobody ever sees me, so I might as well do something for it. I might as well save the country.
Who said that? I'm sorry, it was just sitting there. I had to. I apologize.
Here's why being a middle-aged woman is a great reason for being a spy, because, like I said, nobody notices. Like there's so much. You could get away with so much. Is all I'm saying. You could get away. For example, I will tell you this story, but I was younger then. So, but when we were, when Todd and I were for our honeymoon, my husband Todd, my parents had bought us some champagne for the honeymoon. This is back in the day where you could bring liquid on. But I had also, we honeymooned in Acapulco, and we brought some herb with us.
Tarragon?
Yes. This was 40 fucking years ago, right? So the only thing they stopped was they wanted to know what was in the package. And I said, it's champagne from my parents because we just got married. And they let us through! Do you know what I mean? Like I have that look of like, what? No, I don't have anything underneath my shirt that I took.
So what you're saying is you enjoyed the privilege of not being Brittany Grinered?
Yes.
On your trip?
There you go. Yes, that's very true. That's very true.
Okay.
But I also give that look of, Leighann knows the story, but my father was, my father would like to, he had sticky fingers. So,
really?
Yes. So I get that. And when he would get caught, the look on his face was like, oh no, this old man couldn't possibly have taken the big giant picture that was hanging in the middle of the hotel. He couldn't have. So I get that type of, I mean, I could either be a spy / shoplifter. There you go.
Right. I'd say stick with spy because our country needs you.
Yes.
Yes. Walgreens does not.
Exactly.
What is that with the locking up? I can't.
The shoplifting, that's what that's about. For context, for our international audience listening, there's been an epidemic of shoplifting from our pharmacies and local stores. The response from corporations, instead of lowering their prices or figuring out actually how to help people in need, is to lock up products that you always have to have someone who works there with a key come and unlock it so you get it and then steal it. So
yes,
it just slows everything down.
Yeah, I mean, I buy ice cream on a very regular basis. I should just have a standing order at my CVS. But no, every time, got to press the button. Customer service in aisle 1. Customer service in, it's Shelly again. Never mind.
Shelly needs ice cream in aisle 1.
Exactly. Just, you know what? Have it by the door when I walk in. Make it simpler for everybody.
Okay, this is how old I am. It should be Miss Shelly is here and is wanting her ice cream.
No, that's only if I go visit my father's family in Kentucky. When I was a kid and I would go to visit my father's family, my mom and my sister and I, and we would go down and see my grandmother and her sister, and they would have various, neighbors would come over or whatever, and it was always Miss Theta, that was my mom's name was Theta, Miss Shelly and Miss Melanie, and I'm going, who? I'm 8. What are you talking about?
No.
But that's how they were, back in the 1600s in Kentucky.
That is still how I am. You don't call folks by their first name if y'all don't have that relationship, and children especially do not. That's right.
Well,
Cancel me, y'all. I don't care.
Well, no, we have established that you are Your Majesty and you, Carole, are Your Grace, and I can be Miss Shelly if you like, but it just doesn't work for me. This doesn't work for me. All right, so now it is time for sarcasm, as if we hadn't done that yet. I'm going to ask you guys. Yes, now it's time. But it's intentional sarcasm or directed sarcasm or something. I'm going to ask you guys the questions that comics get asked when they get interviewed, and I want you to answer me as sarcastically as possible. Okay, I'm going to start with Carole. Carole?
Yes.
Were you the class clown?
Yes, I was. I had on a red nose and polo clippers. Yes, and red hair.
Really?
Yes.
And that was through your entire school tenure?
Yes, my entire school tenure, I was the class clown.
And did you get sillier as time went on? And what did your teachers say?
I had a rubber duck and I had a horn. I'll keep going with it. My dad taught at the high school I was at, so he actually said he gave me stuff that he'd stolen from the said, here, take
From
this.
the local joke store.
From the local
Here,
joke
Carol.
store.
Here's your rubber chicken.
Here's your rubber chicken.
Okay, Leighann. Where do you get your ideas?
Well, I usually wait till Prime Day when there's a sale, and then I just buy them off Amazon.
Oh man,
Okay.
I don't have to do that. That's really good.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
I
not a bad
would
idea.
say eBay, but you can't really trust the quality.
True.
of
Those
the
are a lot of
joke.
those are probably used also. So
Yeah, that's Temu, or however you say that. Don't get your jokes there. That's because everybody buys them there, and they're all the same. That's how you know.
yeah.
That's where the
That's
specials
true.
come from.
Oh, okay. I thought those came from the idea store. You know, that big Swedish store where you buy your ideas and then you take them home and put them together.
The idea.
Ooh,
I like
Yes.
that's
Very
good.
nice, Shelly. Very nice.
I thought of that
And now
yesterday and I went, I'm using it.
Now I want to go to IKEA.
Okay. Okay. All right. So now I just want to ask you guys, okay, I'm pretty sure I know what's the answer to this, but maybe I don't. What are you doing next? Carol, what's your next show?
I have no more work ever.
Right.
Good Lord,
Okay, no,
woman.
we're done with the sarcastic part. Okay, this is an actual question that I would like an answer to. Please.
Well, actually, one of the comedians' lament is that, when a certain time shows up around May and June where you just look at your calendar and go, okay, so I'm not leaving for a while. So I'm actually taking some time to try to just deal with, like, every year. I've been doing stand-up for 40 years, and every summer I do this. I have no work. How did that happen? What's happened? The year is over. And so I've decided this year to just I'm doing stuff locally in the city. We have a Funny Woman show coming up in June, and then we have nothing until till September. And then I'm just doing stuff locally, which is I as Leighann knows, and you know somewhat, Shelly's like 24/7 is all I think about is Funny Women of a Certain Age. So sometimes I take these times and I go, maybe chill the fuck out is what I'm saying.
Take time off? Is that what they call it in the real world?
I think so. But
Okay.
and I know she struggles with it too. I mean, but we've talked about it. So so yeah, but we gear up again. We had a very, very, very busy first quarter. Second and third, second quarter dead, and now the fall is coming back in gangbusters. So
And this is going to be at the Crane Theater. That's the new home for Funny Women of a Certain Age, right?
The Triad is the new home.
Oh, the Triad. Okay,
Yes,
right, because the Crane
Triad
closed. I remember I was there.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, the Triad is we're starting our residency, and that's great because we're still going to be in the city, and I'm thrilled about that. And so
Good.
yeah, yes.
Oh, that's cool. Okay, Leighann, you got some project coming up you want to talk about? Something you're hosting, something you're speaking at, something you're dressing up for, putting on pointy ears for? Anything that you want to say? No? Okay.
Well, I too suffer from the, oh my God, it's summer. I've made a terrible life choice to be a comic. I don't have any work. But like Carole, I am working locally. I'm doing stuff at Westside Comedy Club. I'm very happy that we have the new residency that starts in July at the Triad. And also, I'll throw in a plug for the Black Women in Comedy Festival, which is in June. They have partnered with Funny Women of a Certain Age, and I will be headlining that show. So
nice.
Yes, I am excited about that. And also, I'll absolutely give a shout out to QED because I look QED in Astoria. I love doing shows where I don't have to cross a bridge to get to. I can perform in my own borough.
Yep.
And so
I thought you were going to say where you could perform in your pajamas. I don't know where I was going with that.
Listen, campus pretty open. As long as you're funny, wear your jammies and just, the assignment. And and believe it or not, and sometimes young comics don't know the value of this throughout your entire career. I will still go to an open mic. I still like doing new material nights, which is essentially open mics for headliners, so that you're practicing and doing and developing new material in non-pressured, paid situations. Am I going to slip in new jokes on paid shows? Yeah, I am. But to have a night to work that out on a show without the pressure of, okay, I'm going to make whoever hired me look bad or I'm going to get fired or whatever, is incredibly valuable to me. And that's how I spend my downtime.
Okay. So no pointed ears this summer.
Oh, well, yeah, Dragon Con. I go to Dragon Con every year. It's always Labor Day weekend, which is also my birthday weekend, which is why I don't remember a lot of it because the drinking starts on the plane.
Okay.
On the plane.
Got it.
And Dragon Con, in case anybody is wondering, it's like Comic-Con, but on steroids. And this year will be year 10.
Wow.
That I've been invited to go and perform. So I do all the nerdy jokes I can't do for muggles. And I cosplay, and it's a wonderful big tent nerdy experience.
Nice. So everybody should, who hadn't been planning to go to Dragon Con, should now go to Dragon Con so you can see Leighann doing comedy and dressing up as, I don't even want to guess who.
Oh, she's dressed up in some amazing costumes.
I've seen some of them. But some of them I don't even want to remember.
Okay. But historically, there's something called the Dragon Con Parade, which is on the Saturday of Dragon Con. And I did not come up with this. Someone else brings the costume. They dress me. This sounds really lofty.
Wow.
But I get to go as Ida B. Wells. I love the outfit. I love, even though it's hot, it's Atlanta hot, and I'm walking on the streets in full hoop skirt and hat. But it is amazing. It's an amazing experience.
That's cool.
To do.
That's very cool. Being dressed by someone or walking down the street, which would it be?
What she said, hat, hoop skirt. I'm already sweating. I'm already like,
okay, listen. But you know me. I'm from the school of it is better to look good than to feel good.
And
if I look amazing,
marvelous.
Thank you. That's all I need.
That is true. Yes.
All right. Oh my goodness.
We are on the road together. We are Oscar and Felix. You figure out who is who.
Huh. No, I want to talk to you guys again. So no, I'm not going to guess. I'm not gonna. So this has been really fun. I'm glad we decided to do this. And by the way, if I can just say, thank you, Carole, for letting me sort of jump on the bandwagon here. I decided that I would offer myself as the anchor, if you will, because two reasons. Number one, I was tired of being one of 9 people on the planet who didn't have a podcast, and also I need to hitch my wagon to you guys somehow. So that's what I'm doing right now.
Listen, join the coattails. I am riding this till the wheels fall off.
Oh, wow. I have wheels, man. Thanks. I have wheels. That's good.
Yes, you are. All right. So I want to say thank you very much to Carole Montgomery and thank you very much to Leighann Lord. I'm Shelly Colman. We're going to do this again as soon as I figure out how to edit it and put it together. What's today? Probably like 2026. Maybe we'll get around to another one.
That's good. I think
that's
a good time.
Okay.
All right.
All right. So that's it. Thanks for listening. Thanks for coming. And we'll talk to you guys soon.